evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. and welcome. For the audience here tonight, my name is Timothy Cremens, and I am the chair and serve as the presiding officer over the Planning Commission meeting. In consideration of others and the business conducted tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. If you are in attendance and wish to speak during the public comment and/or public hearings, speaker cards are located in the lobby area at the rear of the chamber. Please fill out a card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public comment and/or public hearing. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. Moving on, we'll do a quick roll call and want the record to reflect that Commissioner Koss is present, Commissioner Faber is absent, Commissioner Cremens present, Commissioner Davis present, and Commissioner Jarvie is present. If you can now please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, does anyone wish to reorder or add to the agenda here this evening? Nope. Okay. We will move on and open the public comment period. We'll invite members of the public to address the legislative body. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once on both on and off agenda items. Comments, correspondence relating to public hearing items will be conducted during the public hearing portion of the meeting. If you're in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name and the subject matter you wish to discuss. Do we have any public comment cards this evening?
I haven't received any. Does anybody wish to speak? Looks
Nope.
like there's none.
Okay. We'll go ahead and close the public comment period. And I'd like to invite the commissioners to report if they have anything to do so. Nothing. Commissioner Davis?
The only thing I have is just a comment on the 4th of July. I live up on a hillside, and I noticed as we watched fireworks across the valley, Glendora was dark. So they abided by the no fireworks to a maximum. I mean, there was literally nothing that I saw in the city of Glendora, but it was wild everywhere else.
Indeed. That said, hope everybody had a safe and fun 4th of July. Commissioner Jarvie?
Yes. I just wanted to start off by saying I hope everyone had a great Independence Day. And I just want to say thank you to all the commissioners for the past year. This makes 1 year that I've been serving, and I want to thank you for your professionalism and modeling how these meetings are run, and I appreciate you showing me the ropes. And then I also want to extend my gratitude to the staff for always being available and answering all my questions. And so with that, I just want to say I'm very blessed to be in this position, and I look forward to working with you for another year to help make Glendora beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. We'll now invite reports from Community Development Director Jeff Kugel.
I think he's deferring to me. I'm going to do a quick update on the planning division status and looking ahead calendar. The division remains very active. Over the last couple of months, several planning items have moved forward to City Council, including the circulation element that you guys looked at, as well as the Mountain View Crossing residential project. To give the commission a sense of where we are on the current residential pipeline, we have 188 units under construction, 123 units have been approved and are in construction plan check, and 369 units are in entitlement review. Current construction examples are the Pavona project on Arrow Highway, Heritage Walk, which is the San Jose and Woodland project, the Alisal project on Route 66, Citrus Oak on Bonnie Cove, and Fig Tree Walk on Route 66. Larger projects currently in the entitlement review stage that are expected to come to this commission. Malia Homes has a project at 1134 Barranca for 163 units. There's a project called The Collective by Warmington. There's 86 units on Sunflower and Gladstone. And then there's a Mountain View Crossings project, which is 28 units. Looking ahead, the August commission meeting is going to be canceled, but the September is going to be busy with a couple items, the one of which will be a comprehensive update, an overhaul of the city's subdivision ordinance, which is Chapter 20 of the Municipal Code, a hillside grading review for a single-family development at 140 Edgemont. Dutch Brothers Coffee will be presenting their drive-through conditional use permit, and a facade renovation to a village business, the Village Fitness, which is at 146 North Glendora Avenue. Also in October, staff expects to provide a community art program status update, which is in response to a request by Commissioner Davis. As always, things might be shifting depending on readiness and noticing, and we encourage commissioners to reach out to us if you have any questions or want to meet up on any questions or items. That's what's up.
Thank you, Mark.
I just wanted to ask you, can we get a copy of that? Get an email copy of that, of the update? Just for our, to have in our records, just to.
I can forward you, I do a monthly update to City Council. I can forward you one I just do, and I can do that
Yeah,
more
that'll work.
regularly. Sure.
Yeah. Just kind of keep an idea what's coming in case something comes our way and I don't want to miss something for sure.
Great. And then Assistant City Attorney Jessica Santiago, anything to report here this evening?
No comments from me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, special items. We're going to be the reorganization for term 2026 through 2027. And I guess I now invite the city clerk specialist, Lorena Cordova, to report.
Thank you. So at this time, I declare the office for the chair and vice chair vacant. Nominations are now in order for the chair. Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Commissioner Davis.
I'll second.
Do we have any other nominations? Seeing none, I now declare Commissioner Davis as selected as the chair by acclamation. Congratulations, Chair Davis. I now will turn the meeting over to you, so that way you can run the rest of the meeting.
Okay, so at this time, I declare for the office of vice chair vacant, and I'll call for some nominations for vice chair. I'll nominate Commissioner Koss.
Perfect. You don't need a second for those, right?
Oh, sorry, I thought you did. I
That's okay.
seconded before. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, so that takes care of vice chair.
Were there any additional nominations?
Oh, are there any other nominations? I'm sorry,
That's okay.
it's been a while.
That's all right. That's why I'm here to help.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, welcome Vice Chair Koss. Also, just to follow up on last month's meeting, I misheard you. I chaired the meeting, I misheard you. I thought I heard unanimous, and all you said was majority. Yeah, so my apologies. I looked at it afterwards, I'm like, well, that was dumb. Okay, so moving on to public hearings. Item number 3, request for approval of a conditional use permit to allow alcohol sales on sale general for on-site consumption and entertainment in conjunction with a restaurant, Chase's LLC, located at 216 North Glendora Avenue. With that, I'd like to open the public hearing. I declare the public hearing open now. Anybody wish to speak?
So now you would invite the planning tech.
Oh, that's right.
So you read
Is that for,
for item number 3. So you're going to invite planning technician Ryan Axlar to report.
so I'm inviting Dorian Franco. Yeah, Dorian Franco?
No, it's planning tech first. The staff will report first.
Okay, I'll get there. Planning Tech Ryan Alcaraz, please. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Before you tonight is a conditional use permit request for Chase's Restaurant at 216 North Glendora Avenue, Suite 100. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit to allow on-site alcohol in conjunction with the existing restaurant, as well as approval for entertainment. The subject property is located here in the village at the previous location of Luca Bella Restaurant. The restaurant will operate from 7 a.m. to midnight and serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The proposed alcohol service would be accessory to the restaurant, and the applicant is also requesting approval for occasional entertainment. Here is the floor plan, building frontage, and existing outdoor dining parklet. No exterior building modifications are proposed as part of this request. A public notice was completed in accordance with city requirements. Based on staff's analysis, the project is consistent with the general plan and the municipal code. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a CEQA Class 1 categorical exemption and prepared resolution. And that concludes the presentation. Staff and the applicant are happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask Dorian Franco or Sean to come up. You have 10 minutes.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
We weren't prepared to speak tonight, just so you know, but we do want to let you know that we're.
You don't have to, by the way.
No,
You don't have to.
No, we
that-
want to.
That's
I mean,
okay.
it's-
We want to definitely want to make sure that our faces are seen, make sure you guys know who we are. You know, that we're super excited about coming to the city of Glendora. This is a long time coming for us to open up a second location, and so we're happy to be involved with the city of Glendora and being here. So, you know, hopefully with everything going well tonight, you know, we're looking forward to opening soon and being part of the Glendora community. So thank you for having us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, open public testimony and invite members of the public. Anybody who would like to speak on this item? Do we have any cards, first of all?
I have none.
Would anybody like to speak on the item? Nobody? Okay, I guess with that, then I'll close public testimony. And you've got this down twice. Incoming presiding officer.
Correct.
Oh,
That's why.
and so they're done.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Now you go to discussion and deliberation.
Well, with that, I guess I'll close public testimony and bring it back to the commission for discussion. So Commissioner Koss?
The only question I have, well, two actually. The first one is what kind of entertainment and when does it open?
We usually do a couple things over at Chase's in Laverne. We do like a trivia night, music trivia. Always fun, always packed. We try to bring in like 2 or 3 piece, like either jazz or soft rock or different genres of music, and it brings people together. We get lots of business from it.
When do you anticipate opening?
We had our first inspection with the health department. We have to do some things for drawings, and we had to get an architect, but very soon. I'd say within the next couple weeks. Yes.
Awesome. Commissioner Kremens?
No questions for me, just welcome. Excited to get you guys up and running.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jarvie?
Thank you. The entertainment that you've described, is that occurring within the building, or will that also be on the parklet?
Right now, we're thinking it's going to be inside the building, like it is at Chase's
Okay.
in Laverne.
Okay, great. I don't have any other questions. Look forward
Thank
to
you.
having you in Glendora.
Thank you, Commissioner Jarvie. Yes, welcome to Glendora. I just wanted to ask, and it may be consistent with Glendora and downtown, closing at 11? Is that a local code or local ordinance, I should say, or is that business choice?
That's simply what they requested.
Okay. Would they be allowed to stay open if they had some type of special event or something past 11?
They would, the hours don't regulate the business hours, it regulates the hours that alcohol can be sold and served.
Okay,
So
so
they
if they
can
had a
s- they-
special event that ran past 11, they'd have to cut off alcohol sales at 11.
Correct. Or whenever they close, just 1 hour before closing, but no later than 11 PM.
Do you view that as ever happening?
I mean, on Friday and Saturday, I would be guessing that we would stay open later, sure.
Okay, is that something we should address here as an addendum of sorts or a motion? So to extend, like I said, because I'm thinking of a Friday or Saturday night or a
Right.
special events, and I saw 11 o'clock, and I know that's fairly standard for businesses downtown, but past 11, I don't want you to have to possibly, cut off sales if your restaurant is full.
Do you want to consider just shifting it to midnight?
Yeah, we can, I mean, the commission can whatever conditions the commission establishes is what will be, so in theory, you can the state of California allows you to serve alcohol until, I think it's 2 AM or something like that.
Yeah.
I think in staff's practice, staff's recommendation, or maybe the director's rule of thumb, is that when it comes to alcohol, nothing good ever happens after midnight. So our recommendation would be to, and we've basically stuck with that rule for a number of years as a matter of practice. So the commission hasn't granted on-sale permit of alcohol later than midnight, or in probably many years, if ever.
What would the process be if they found themselves extremely popular and extremely busy on Friday and Saturday nights and wished they'd been open to sell alcohol later? Would they have to come back for
They can
another meeting
apply to
before us?
request, a public hearing to request a modification to the conditional use permit.
Would there be a cost to that?
Yes.
for them?
There'd be a fee it's an application, so there would be a fee associated with that,
Okay.
and a public hearing.
I would make a motion to approve with a caveat that they're, not a caveat, but that they're allowed to serve until 12.
Like for us over at Laverne, we stop, our last call's at 11:30 and then we're done by 12.
Right. So if,
That's-
if they could serve alcohol till midnight, that means they would have to be open till 1 o'clock. Because they have to stop serving an hour before they close.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to be open till 1. They could still close at 11. It would simply allow them, if they chose to, if you extend the hour that they can sell alcohol, the hours of operation don't matter. They can be open 24 hours a day if they want. But you're just regulating the hours that they can sell alcohol. If you're allowing them to serve until midnight, then yes, at 1 hour before closing, then you would tell them on that night, yeah, you have to be open till 1, sort of
Right. That was what I was asking, is
Yeah.
if we were to extend to midnight, that means they would have to be open till 1.
Yeah.
Because they have to have an hour before, okay.
Well, let me ask this. Is the other establishments that serve alcohol in town, are they all 11 o'clock?
No, it does vary. It varies.
Okay, then I'll leave my motion.
I'll second.
Okay, with that, I'll call for a vote.
Oh, are we voting on the amendment? Or the original thing? We're voting on the amendment, right?
We're voting on it amended to 12
To
o'clock.
12 o'clock, okay. Oh, where's the vote thing? I didn't get a vote thing on mine. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I didn't.
Motion carries 4-0. So welcome to Glendora.
Thank you
and,
very much.
I want to also take a moment to thank Jim Martindale for providing a tenant for a fairly large, important space downtown in a very timely manner. So well done, sir. I appreciate your efforts. And welcome to Glendora.
Thank you, and I thank Jim, too.
Okay, very good. All righty, thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 4, an ordinance amending Title 21 zoning of the Glendora Municipal Code to update regulations governing accessory dwelling units, junior accessory dwelling units, and SB 9 units in compliance with state law, APLN 26-0007. And with that, I'd like to ask Assistant Community Director Sean McPherson to come up and present.
Thank you, sir. I'm
Sorry,
substituting
just
for
quick,
Han.
sorry to interrupt. Just a quick question. Did you declare the public hearing open? I don't know if I missed that.
I did not. I declare the public hearing open for item number 4, the ordinance. Do we need to read it again? No? Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Tonight's item can really be summarized briefly by saying that the State Department of Housing and Community Development has contacted the city and identified potential areas where the code may be inconsistent with law, so we are working toward updating those provisions relative to ADUs, JADUs, and SB 9 units. Kind of fast forwarding through here a little bit, the city's existing ADU, JADU, and SB 9 regulations need to be updated to reflect changes in state law. These updates are also in response to recent technical assistance letters provided by the State Department of Housing and Community Development. The ordinance does not create any new local housing program and does not broadly rewrite the city's zoning code. It focuses on specific amendments to existing code sections simply to ensure compliance with state law. A little bit of background here. I won't read all of this, but the proposed ordinance responds to several state law changes, which you see here on the screen and which we'll discuss in a couple of minutes here. In December 2025 and January 2026, HCD provided technical assistance letters to the city on 2 areas. That's ADUs and JADU regulations, as well as SB 9 urban lot split regulations. The first letter, which is included with this staff report as attachment D, was received from HCD on December 5th and identified various provisions in our code which had the potential of being out of compliance with state law. Staff responded to HCD on December 23rd, identifying steps we had taken over the past couple of years to maintain compliance with state law. In short, staff feels that our ordinance is substantially compliant with state law, but nonetheless, staff recommends that the code be updated to include the items presented tonight, so that this ordinance can more clearly comply with the state law. The second letter from HCD was received on January 23rd, which is included as attachment E to the staff report, and involved specific language in our code involving SB 9 owner-occupant requirements for vacant lots. Staff responded on February 10th, committing to make these changes to our code around the second quarter of 2026, which is another reason why we're here tonight. Rather than walk through all of these issues, the key point is that HCD identified specific areas where the city's existing code should be updated, and this ordinance simply responds to those points. So the first change relates to SB 9 owner occupancy requirements. The existing code requires SB 9 urban lot split applicants to verifiably live on the property from the time of application. The ordinance, the proposed ordinance tonight removes that language consistent with state law. Instead, the code will simply rely on owner occupancy affidavits, which are required under state law or allowed under state law, which requires that the applicant to state that they simply intend to occupy one of the housing units as their principal residence for at least 3 years. Moving on to ADUs and JADUs, the second major set of changes for the ordinance relates to ADUs and JADUs. For JADUs, the ordinance clarifies that owner occupancy is required only when the JADU shares sanitation facilities within the primary dwelling. We can kind of get into those details if there's any questions. If the ADU has its own separate bathroom, ownership is not required. For multifamily properties, the ordinance also clarifies that on a lot with existing multifamily dwellings, up to 8 detached ADUs may be allowed, provided that the number of detached ADUs does not exceed the number of existing multifamily units on the property. The ordinance also clarifies how conversion ADUs are counted when non-livable space in an existing multifamily structure is converted into ADUs. Again, those are details we can get into in case there's any questions. Finally, the ordinance adds a table to make all of this complicated jargon much clearer. Let's see here. So, oops, did I? Oh, there you go. Okay, so, yeah, actually, that would be it. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission open and conduct the public hearing, take any testimony, find that the ordinance is exempt from CEQA, and recommend that the City Council adopt the ordinance. With that, I conclude my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, at this time, I'd like to invite members of the public. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking only on the agenda item. If you're in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of public testimony. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium. Actually, it's a lectern. State your name and testimony you want to provide. Invite speakers. Do we have any speakers who want to speak tonight in attendance? Do we have any speaker card? Do we have
none.
any correspondences?
None.
Nothing. Okay. So we have nothing. So with that, I will close the public testimony and bring it back to the commission for discussion. And I'll start down here with Commissioner Jarvie.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple of questions. With the conversion to from non-livable to livable, if we're talking about garages, how does that affect the parking counts? Is there still off-street parking maintained if the garage is eliminated?
So the law is such that if a garage is converted for ADU purposes, then the city cannot require replacement parking spaces on site.
Okay. The other question I had was about if the city, does the city have any, or is a part of any open legal challenges to any of these laws since the city made a commitment to resolving these?
No, to my knowledge, the city is not a party to any open legal challenges.
I was going to wait for that confirmation, but no, the only potential legal challenge would be if we do not pass this ordinance in a certain time period, we will be subject to HCD enforcement and possibly referral to the Attorney General.
Okay. And I might just add one more question, and it's more of a, I guess, philosophical question. How does the increase of ADUs affect the city's commitment to more affordable housing? And the reason I ask is because potentially ADUs can increase the value of the homes, and then suddenly with all these new ADUs, we're pricing out young families that would otherwise have been able to afford to live in Glendora or stay in Glendora.
Sure. So I think that is a topic about the size of an elephant that we would take one bite at a time. And I think the housing affordability crisis being what it is, related to legislation passed by Sacramento is such that ADUs, JADUs, SB9 units, and so on are intended to increase the supply of housing, which in theory would make housing more affordable. I think that there is a lot to be said about the rise in property values if there's an ADU or SB9 unit that may be constructed on a property. I think for the purposes of the city's perspective, our primary drive here is to make sure that we maintain compliance with state law. And if the intention of those laws passed by the legislature is to provide additional housing, that would be our objective in making sure we're compliant with state law.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garvey. Commissioner Crimmins?
All right. Thank you, Sean, for the information. Couple of just quick ones. I guess this is the first kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, little, note from the principal's office that's come across since I've been here. So how does that happen? Did somebody tattle on the city, or do they just have people that are really bored that are fine, going over stuff with a magnifying glass?
So I can, and maybe Mark or Jeff want to weigh in on this because, quite frankly, one of the letters from HCD came in shortly before I started with the city. But what I can tell you is the letter that came in January was in response to an inquiry that a private citizen made to HCD, which initiated HCD's outreach to the city.
Gotcha. I mean, I think honestly, that's the fact that this doesn't happen a whole lot is a compliment to you guys too. You guys are on top of things, and so thank you. But yeah, it's weird. And then I think that and this is just a little refresher. The JB9 thing, if somebody has a lot, and I don't want to go off on a whole tangent, but they can split it and then put 2 units on each split half. Is that correct? Am I
Correct.
remembering that? Okay. All right. Just a little refresher for my memory. Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Koss?
Yeah, I just had one question. I think you said, I think it was the first slide, maybe the second, that there's no longer the requirement of occupancy, that now they can just have an affidavit saying that they, quote, intend to occupy. Did I get that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So, and I believe that would be in reference to the, is that the SB9 lot splits, Mark, for vacant lots? There is language in our code currently which says, and I forget verbatim what it is, but I believe the term in our code is verifiably live
Okay.
on the property. The reason that language is in the code is because the city would want some assurance that
That they actually live
that
there,
they actually
right.
live on the property. That would change to be consistent with state law.
My question is, and maybe you're about to answer it, but
Yeah.
how enforceable are those affidavits? I mean, if somebody
Yeah.
signs an affidavit saying, I intend to live there, I mean, even if it's notarized, it's not really, it's not like enforceable in court. How?
Yeah, is there a stick?
Yeah, how are you going to enforce somebody saying that's my intention? Well, intentions change all the time, right?
Sure, and it's
Yeah.
under the penalty of perjury, I could tell you that.
Right, right. Well, yeah. But somebody could say, oh, well, when I signed that, I intended to, and now my intention changed.
Sure.
So, I mean, I guess my question is there any way to legally enforce those?
Commissioner Cost, that's a great question. Unfortunately, state law is really just limited into what we need to enter into compliance with. As Sean mentioned, it's really just, yes, the affidavit, they're signing it with a notary, they're signing it under penalty of perjury. But other than that, there's not really mechanisms that the city can employ to ensure that it is.
Okay, I just suspected that, but I just wanted to know. Thanks. That was it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner Koss. Whose jurisdiction is it to keep up with occupancy? Once they sign the affidavit, where is it filed? Who's it filed with? And, who's responsible for monitoring it? And I understand we're just talking about language here tonight, but this is a little deeper, touchier subject.
So the affidavit is part of the application, but the affidavit only says that the applicant has the intent. That's what the law says. So we take the affidavit and put it in the file. But, you know, that's the
But there's no
extent.
enforcement mechanism set up with the city to go and check and make sure that, so it's
No, we're not knocking on
No.
doors and asking
It's a
who's living
handshake and a
there.
prayer.
No.
pretty much.
Thing I was wondering,
Yeah.
yes. There's no way to enforce it.
Can we make that a condition?
Legally can do that.
This isn't a, this is just language in the, we're just approving our language. We're enhancing our language to meet up with what the state wants.
Yeah.
I think we're powerless to change that.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, Chair and Commissioner Jarvie. State law just is there to ensure that we are in compliance with it. It doesn't leave any room for any discretionary action from the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
So, but once we. So, assuming that we do write that language in and comply, can we add on anything? Can the city add on any verification? No?
Nothing to the extent where it would make state law compliance change in its substance or impose more requirements. Discretionary in the sense where, a certain application for an ADU, the Planning Commission can have discretion as to, the size, the aesthetic to it. But in terms of what the state law requires, we can't really impose more discretionary measures there for enforcement purposes or anything else that would take away from it or impose more restrictions on it.
Okay.
This is a little tongue-in-cheek, but what's the penalty for perjury?
There's a lot, depends on what you commit perjury and where it is but it can be serious. I know it's, the penalty for perjury can be serious if you're caught, but you can say, well, I intended to when I signed it, so that's not
Yeah,
perjury.
proving it's another story.
My intention changed,
Okay, I had a question. You said something about bathrooms. You said if a junior ADU has a bathroom, it's considered one way, and if it doesn't have a bathroom, it's another. I thought junior ADUs had to have a bathroom.
Yeah, junior ADUs have to have a bathroom. I think the distinction there is that the law requires that if there are shared sanitation facilities, so if a JADU shares a bathroom with the primary dwelling unit, then the owner of the property must live on the property.
So when it's shared, so they convert the garage, and they've got to go in through the garage door into the pantry and use the bathroom.
Whatever, yeah,
Then they have to live there.
correct. Because the JADU, not to get too specific, but the JADU would be a secondary living unit which is carved out from within the footprint of the
Correct.
primary dwelling unit. So this clarification is simply, this change to the ordinance is simply clarifying that if there's that shared sanitation facility, then the property owner has to live on site.
Yeah, and again, my apologies. I know we're talking about just getting language to comply with state language, and
It's
we have no
complicated stuff,
and we have
yeah.
no control over this, but
Right.
it's still, there are still aspects of it that just boggle my mind sometimes. All right, so that's the bathrooms. Parking, yeah, that's another jolly right there. How will the city of Glendora handle parking that's pushed out onto the streets in terms of ticket or needing permits? Will we be charging for permits if they're an ADU and there's no parking required? And what about electric vehicles? Where are they going to plug in if they're out on the street?
So, sure. So again, I think and I know I sound like a broken record, but the city is limited in parking enforcement relative to ADUs and these types of units. To the extent that any kind of future occupant of such units would need to park their car over the street, then they would have to go through the channels to get an overnight parking permit.
Okay,
So they would just follow regular parking rules.
That's right.
Okay.
so nothing's changed there, okay. All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve as it stands.
I'll second.
Sorry, just to clarify the motion, this is going to the city council, so the correct motion would be motion for city council to approve.
Okay, so I motion that we recommend to the city council approval of the following. Find and determine that the ordinance is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and recommend that the city council introduce and adopt an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Glendora amending Title 21 zoning of the City of the Glendora Municipal Code to update regulations governing accessory dwelling units, junior accessory dwelling units, and SB 9 units in compliance with state law." I will motion to accept and make that recommendation.
I'll second.
I'll call for a vote. Passes 4-0. Thank you for coming. Okay, so that brings us to closing comments. Members of staff have anything for the good of the order? No? Commissioners? All right, well, sorry.
Being that it's summertime, I think Finkbeiner Park has a lot of events for families, movies and music, right? Live music?
Yeah, is it Saturday night or
Sunday
Sunday
night.
night?
It's Sundays. I believe it starts at 6.
Concerts in the park?
Yeah, concerts in the park, and then I think there's also movies for the kids.
Probably on
at Finkbeiner.
Fridays.
I know it's Sunday night. I'm pretty sure it's 6 o'clock.
So I just want to encourage everyone to bring their families out for live music and movies in the park.
And don't forget to visit the farmer's market downtown tomorrow night on Wednesdays. All right, so with that, I'll close the meeting at 7:41.